Kyle here from allmeterviews.blogspot.com, Kevin Gilbert videos. I'm trying to get a lot of these done. I might be able to get them all done this week. So this is going to be, well, part of, this is the Call Me Kai, the last official release, even though it's archival, that came out in 2021. Officially, this record, this collection of, personally released collections of music annually for what it would have been at least three. I don't know if it was 3 or 4 Christmases that Kevin Gilbert did this when he was basically in college all the way up to 87 when he had already left Eddie. Basically when he formed Giraffe, that's what it would have been basically, or was Giraffe was starting anyway. So came out April 15th, 2021, was released by the estate last year, so it's almost a year old. So I'm just going to go through the first two in this portion of the video. I'm not sure if I'm going to be attaching this or doing 2 separate videos, I'm not sure. Anyway, so chronologically, 1985, his first one that he released was called Decent Exposure, and 1986, Sometimes Why. So if you look at those track lists right there, as I've posted in my previous reviews, and I can say now, I'm reviewing this as extensively as I can. I finally made, I'll talk about this maybe at the end of the video, today or tomorrow, or whenever I finish this stuff up. I've made the list of songs that he re-released, re-recorded, rearranged, and some were just re-released or remixed anyway. But as far as Decent Exposure, I talked about this. This collection of songs, an archival collection, was my album of the year for 2021. Not so sure it still would be now, but that's revisionist, and maybe I'll do that later. But just talking about, so Decent Exposure came out in 85. This was in effect about a year after when he was giving those out during Christmas of 85. The NRG No Reasons Given album came out. So it was not that long after that, and as I got the list, and I'm going to go over this on the video itself, but there's a bunch of songs that were Staring Into Nothing, the second track, which of course there's 4 different versions of it. That was on this. That was also on No Reasons Given, but there is a difference in the two. If I'm not mistaken, it's a little more jazzy, but Carpet Man, the cover of the Fifth Dimension song, comparing to the covers collection that just came out literally last month in December of 2021, the cover of the Fifth Dimension song, this version on here is shorter than the version that came out. It's a different version. I mean, it's similar, but the version that came out in whatever. The version they put on covers is a different version. I'm not sure when that version from covers was recorded, but I think it was later. But I still like that cover. Good Man, Bad Man had been on NRG. That I'm just listening to compare them. I think it was the same track. Now, I had the mentality that when he released, why don't I just open these up? When he released these 2 albums, when he gave these out or whatever, he gave out Decent Exposure. This is what I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a cassette tape. Maybe it was really a reel-to-reel? I kind of think it was probably a cassette tape. The CD burners weren't around then. Cassette, obviously you can take a cassette and hook something up into it, But anyway, this, I'm guessing that maybe a lot of people he was giving these gifts to never heard, never got a copy of No Reasons Given albums, so that's why he included, a couple tracks from No Reasons Given onto this, including that track, I'm getting thrown off here, Good Man, Bad Man, because it sounds exactly the same. Welcome Home, the last track on Decent Exposure, 85, the first of the 4. This collection would be re-recorded on the Giraffe album, or re-recorded, in fact, The View From Here. It's pretty similar. I mean, it's not identical, but it's pretty similar. The lyrics of this are similar. Circling Winds, of course, that track was on Nuts, I believe. Let's see here. I have it here. Circling Winds. Yes, it was on the Nuts compilation. I think it's the same. as weird as it seems like it's, the one that they use, maybe there's a mixing difference. I don't know. I think it's really similar if it's not the same. Suitcase Living is a fun little track. I mean, it's a good opening track if he was given these. Simpler Times is, if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of a ballad. It's not forgettable, but it's probably the weakest track on this album. And then Walking in Your Shoes, I like that. I'm just lukewarm on it, but Decent Exposure resembles NRG of go figure the most among all of these, I believe. But there is some slight difference. If I were to go, and I forgot. The highlights of this, the biggest highlight of this collection, if I'm going to make a Kevin Gilbert essential or favorite track list, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up in it. The Rain Suite, which if you go onto Spotify and you go find NRG's No Reasons Given album, there's a bunch of extra tracks on the end there, and that is on there. They're the same ones. But the Rain Suite, technically, I guess, I don't know if you could say there was a version of No Reasons Given that had it, but the Rain Suite, or is it just Rain Suite? No, it's the Rain Suite. That's epic. The first part especially. I really enjoy like the keyboard arrangement especially on that. Even though it sounds 80s, it's grown on me a lot. And that was the first epic that, in effect, Kevin wrote, I would guess. I wouldn't say that they really did too many epics on the rest of NRG. So, yeah, that's the biggest highlight. I would say my go-tos on this are the Rain Suite, If Ever Rain, the first part, If Ever Rain Will Fall, rather, and Broken Ties. But it's like, I don't know, it's like 6 minutes. It's not that long, but between the two tracks. So that, and I would say Staring Into Nothing are my top two tracks on this. But it's a good record. So moving on to Sometimes Why, just listening to that now again, I would say I prefer that to Decent Exposure, but again, I kind of see this as one big box set compilation thing, so I look at it the overall picture. It's like the color spectrum from the Deer Hunter in a way, but overall I think Sometimes Why, the next year in 86, the Christmas of 86, which I was thinking about the timeline again with him. There's the video that when they went on to American Bandstand, which was November 22nd, 86. So he was with Eddie Money. Perhaps even when he was giving these out, he was still considered part of Eddie Money's band as Kai Gilbert. Go figure, Kai. Call me Kai. But yeah, he was, I don't know when he joined Eddie Money's band, sometime in the summer maybe of 86. But he had been with Eddie. He was with Eddie maybe the fall. But as far as the track list, there's a lot of songs, obviously, that were re-released on this, too. Until I Get You Back is not the same as Until I Get Her Back. Until I Get You Back almost sounds like... It's like almost a revenge song in a way. But there's some similarities in the lyrics and some of the arrangements, the kind of vocal effects. He used on a bunch of songs that he did use on Until I Get Her Back off of the Nuts compilation that came out in 2009. But I don't like it as much as Until I Get Her Back. You could put them back to back actually, but early version of Image Maker, which is shorter. It's like a demo almost, you could say. I mean, it isn't a demo, but of course there were other versions of Image Maker that came after this. But it's still Image Maker. You can hear the brilliance on that song already in this version, this early version. Of course, the biggest highlight of this, like the Rain Suite, is the Tired Old Man Suite, which I think I was adding it up. It's like a little over 9 minutes. Maybe my favorite part is the second part of the suite, the Terpsichorean. I mean, the first part, yes, and you can hear the Tired Old Man off of Nuts from 2009 on that compilation. I'm not sure it's identical. It's similar, but there's something slightly different in the mix. So he probably did that song more than once, but Still Alive and then Back on the Shelf added. Those are like, it's like a minute and a half of that close it out. But that Terpsichorean, or whatever how you pronounce it, the second part of the suite, that's just great, like sort of kind of cinematic, upbeat, fast keyboards. It's very surreal. It's one of the best sections of music Kevin ever did to me. And that whole suite is just fantastic. You know, it's top 5 for sure for me. Top 5 music that he ever did, especially if you include the whole suite. I've always loved it, and I've just grown to love it more after hearing it on Sometimes Why from '86. then to add to the greatness of this second record that came out in '86, "Never Say Never" is really catchy. I don't know if that was a James Bond movie. "Never Say Never Again." I can't remember if that was, but I kind of think of James Bond when that lyric. But they also say never about something when you don't want to say you're never going to do something. You stop doing something. But it's catchy. It's a catchy track. I could see why he put it first on this disc that he gave people. Christmas of '86. I don't know if... See, there's the Bandstand picture, and I should have known this when I posted that a couple weeks ago, when he was on American Bandstand. That was '86. So, yeah, there's your, again, reel-to-reel looking thing. I don't know if this was a cassette tape transferred or something like that, but, yeah, a lot of the credits, of course, are in here. Living in the USA, which, not to be confused by Goodbye LA, I think of some of the catchiest tracks on this compilation, Goodbye LA and Living in the USA. Also the James Brown song, Living in America. But it's a catchy track. I could see why he was trying to get it onto radio or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that God's Been Tapping My Phone. It's an extended, more jazzy version of that track that, of course, ended up on the Bolts compilation in 2009. There's a difference. The Bolts one's like 3.5 minutes. This version... Yeah, no, it's almost 4 minutes, but this one's 5:28. So, in fact, I probably would lean towards, much as I love the one off of Bolts, I kind of like this one a little more off Sometimes Why from the Call Me Kai compilation. So, and then Another Day, that's the one I always remember that part that goes da-na-da-na-na-na-na-da, to live another day. I don't know if there's another song he used that same kind of interval pattern with. If I come across it, I will. And then One of Those Days, I think it was Mark McCrite when he was a guest on the You Are Here podcast with Wayne Perez, with Bruno, mentioned that was very influenced by the production, especially Yes's 90125. Yeah, and I can totally hear it. That's a really good track, though. One of Those Days. In fact, I need to probably listen to it. I should have it more in regular rotation. That's why I think this Sometimes Why it might be the strongest of all the discs in this. But Child in Your Arms is maybe the only track on here that I think is sort of just so-so. It's a ballad, God's Been Tapping My Phone is a much better ballad to me. But so yeah, that's kind of the gist of these first two. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to kind of revisit the second two, and I'll be doing that for the second part of this, and I don't know if I'm going to combine these videos or not. But yeah, I mean, it's just digesting and making this list. I will be able to sort of make it sort of like the whole analysis of Kevin Gilbert's re-recordings career. But yeah, he did 2 more of these, of course. That's what came with Point Blank and Mixed Bag 8047. So I don't know if I'll have a chance to go make a video tomorrow about those. Thursday, probably Friday. So, but yeah, I mean, this is my album of the year for 2021. Some other stuff that's come up might eclipse it at some point, but I asked the question among Kevin Gilbert fans, where does this kind of fall in? I mean, it does have 80s production, there's no question about that. You look at some of the people, see, it was a lot, he had guests on, he had tenor sax on a lot of this, a lot of funky jazzy parts on this. I think they really benefited, like a lot of his stuff from this day, from the remix, but here's the mixing from John Kinnerberte, because of course I'd heard the recordings that had been shared, and I never really got that enthused to go back and listen to them as much as I thought I would have, because first there's a lot of music, not stuff that didn't even make it on here, but part of it was just the production, and I think that this remixing has made the production grow on me. So anyway, but yeah, I forgot to mention, I did get, this isn't really related, but I did get this, I should just show it quickly, poster, and then I'm going to eventually show my, hopefully, my Pepe Deluxe albums from the Phantom, I think we were talking about 2021 albums, Phantom Cabinet Volume 1, my whole mail thing that I had last week, it got sent back to where it was shipped from over in Europe. But this I did get, of course I got the Deer Hunter, I know this isn't related to Kevin, but this is the poster that I got with my Antimai, or not Antimai, but the Indigo Child, the Indigo Child record, So, yeah, I know it's not related to Kevin, but it's sort of just a little more house cleaning. I'm not going to probably make a video just about this poster, but yeah, they made it look very cinematic. If you look here, they have like the credits like you see on like posters for films and stuff. Casey, of course, being the film buff, you know, you can see that. But yeah, so yeah, I should be getting my Pepe Deluxe when that arrives. I'm supposed to get both a CD and a vinyl copy of that, so I'll have to show that. And of course, you know, I'm still working on The Expanse. I got 10 episodes left, and I just counted. I think it's going to be, I'm going to make a ranking of sci-fi shows that were set in space. And I think it's like 15 to 20. It's not even 10. I was just trying to think of all the ones that I have been a fan of and watched. So, but anyway, that's the spin on Call Me Kai, the first two discs. What's your take on them? I'd love to hear your take on them, but thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.